I have been rewatching Game of Thrones recently and rereading my favorite passages from the books, and generally remembering how much I love the books and the show. And I don't claim to know George R. R. Martin's mind, but I'll just leave this message here in case I happen to be right. And if I somehow win the insane cosmic lottery of George actually finding this message and hearing what I have to say, then I'd be honored. George, if you ever listen to this, I just wanted to say that no matter how things turned out, and no matter what happens next, you should know that you really are a great man, with a unique mind, a great artist, an amazing writer, and a wonderful human being for the work that you've done. And even saying this isn't enough, really. What you've actually done for me, and I'm certain I'm far from the only one, is you've changed my life, and probably even helped save it. Like countless other people, I've had a very difficult life, and it took a lot of effort for me to be able to preserve it and keep going, and I have done that solely by the help of art and literature. And you were part of this literature that saved me and changed me forever. Through simple pieces of stacked paper, you have managed to reach out to my mind in my darkest moments and make me see that the world isn't all about horror and pain, and that if you just keep going no matter what, in the end, resilience is always worth it. And no matter how many times I say thank you, and no matter how much effort I put into verbalizing it, it would never be able to truly express the extent to which you have influenced my world through your work and efforts. And since this is a fact, outside of this, nothing else fucking matters anymore. No matter how much they fuck up your TV adaptations, no matter how many other things they come up with that aren't as good, I don't care. You have touched my life, you have changed me, and helped shape me into the person that I am today, and nothing in the world can erase this now. In my eyes, for as long as I'm alive, you will be one of the greatest artists of all time and one of the most profound minds the human race has ever produced. And after having said that, I'd like to continue by telling you that it's okay. It is okay to, first of all, if you feel like it, never finish the books. The story for me is not completed whenever a character arc wraps up. It doesn't end where the plot lines are resolved. The story ends when the last page ends. And that's it, I don't care about the rest of it. People crave complete stories and resolution to the artwork, but if you want the artwork to be realistic and authentic in its feel, then it has to reflect the real world. And in the real world, guess what? There is no such a thing as arc completions, or plot resolutions, or people really getting justice or payback, or some kind of an ultimate life lesson. In the real world, things can end abruptly, and for no reason, and with no deep meaning. Life just cuts off, without caring about arc resolutions. And this is painful because it's the force of nature defying all of our phony perceptions of morals and whatever other similar lies we have come up with to try and mask the fact that the world is chaotic, and there is no order, and neither does the world owe us any kind of order. People are scared of this and prefer to live in delusion, but not me. I prefer to see and know the truth, and I prefer the art that I consume to reflect that truth, instead of sugarcoating reality. So if A Song of Ice and Fire ends with Dance of Dragons, I can accept that. And not only can I accept it, I will continue to treasure these 5 books as one of the greatest stories I've ever experienced. And then, George, secondly, it is also okay for you to finish these books if you want to. And I don't mean finish them in some different way than what you had planned. I mean finish them as you meant to do before Game of Thrones happened. Because I suspect that you don't want to finish these books anymore because your story finished on screen and it stole the momentum of your actual life's work, which is the books. And it did so rather horribly, because even if the series followed the general outlines of your plan, the world hated it because it was not presented as you intended it. It was rushed and made with arrogance, incompetence, sheer disrespect for your work and legacy, and marked by an ending that was absolutely unearned in the show, making it seem nonsensical. And if you feel like your life's work has now been gutted, butchered, and forever destroyed, and that no matter how brilliantly you finish the remaining books, people will never perceive them as they would have before, you feel like people are now just waiting to see Bran become king in the books so that they can shit on him there as well. You feel like the death of Daenerys will be just as hated by your readers, and you feel like, perhaps, this is the poetry of your life. The show, Game of Thrones, has been both your greatest success and blessing, and your biggest curse. It shone onto you the light of fame and pride you could never have imagined, and yet it was also the thing that destroyed your actual life's work, your books, or as you like to say, your babies. You have been working toward them and nurturing them your entire life, and now, because of the show, they're forever cursed, and you feel that no matter how you finish them, they'll be hated, and you maybe feel like it's actually better to leave them off and let them rest forever in the ether, cut off and crystallized within the 5 books that exist. You feel like your story is now dead, and yet it rests in a beautiful tomb, which gives you solace. But George, it's okay if you decide to finish them. And it's okay if you finish them as you intended. And I don't speak for everyone, I only speak for myself, and no matter how meaningless one voice in the vacuum is, here is my message. It is okay for you to finish the story as you intended. If this story truly is your child, and you love it as a child, it shouldn't matter what the world thinks. Your baby is your baby, and you protect it and love it, and you cherish it as it is, no matter fucking what. You shouldn't give a shit what fans will say, you shouldn't give a shit about how many inferior TV adaptations they make, and you shouldn't care about them stealing and ruining your momentum. This is your child, and your child is not like other people's children. It won't die and rot in a grave 50 years from now. Your child will live in the world for centuries, or maybe even thousands of years, and it will keep becoming part of people's lives, like it did with mine, and helping them and saving them and inspiring them throughout the ages. Your life's work is in human terms immortal and untouchable. It is okay to love your child as strongly as ever and to give it every breathing second of your being and every ounce of dedication. And it is okay to not take anyone's opinion when it comes to your child. Don't change the story just because people hated its TV adaptation. Don't give up on your work because other people disrespected it. Your work is an indestructible fortress of beauty and brilliance, and the only thing it cares about is your dedication to it. If you decide to, please George, I beg you, if you decide to one day finish the books, do it as you originally intended, and as if the show never happened. And don't listen to what the millions of voices around the world say. They're just dust in the winds of time, including mine, and your work will outlast them all.